What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Fun with Friends podcast. I'm your host, Allie. I hope everyone is doing well and that you are all staying safe and healthy. Joining me on today's episode is Cynthia, and she is the founder of Dear Miss Anonymous, which is a blog, and then you also do business and kind of like empowerment coaching. So I'm very excited to have Cynthia on the podcast with me. So thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here on the Fun with Friends podcast because I have been wanting to get on here for so long.
I'm very excited to have you on today. So you and I actually met in a Facebook group. I don't remember which one it was exactly.
I think it was the introvert group.
Maybe. Yeah, because there are several kind of business ones and small business ones that we're a part of, but yeah, I think you had posted maybe, or someone else posted about what was the question? It was something about what's the thing you struggle with the most?
Yeah, I think I posted something like, anyone want to have a strategy session to plan their 90-day business strategy, something like that.
Yeah.
And you responded, and I was so excited to have someone respond.
Yeah, I was like, pick me, please, because I need all the help I can get with like getting my shit together for the launch of my business.
I know, but it was such a good session. Like, I think you were my first strategy session ever. I mean, I was just like days into my business, really. And I decided to put that post up and see who would respond. And we had like such an awesome one. I think it was like an hour and a half session.
It was amazing because I came out of that session with going into it, I wasn't quite sure because, I'm in all these groups and you never know kind of like how kind of like connecting with someone through social media is going to work out. Like sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And so I was like, well, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna do this Zoom call because literally I just need help getting my life together. And it was a great session. And we like clicked right away. I was like, oh, awesome. Yeah. Like, this is perfect. Like, she's on like the same wavelength as me. And then there was like this aha moment as we were talking. So I was trying to figure out how to kind of like tie my business together and all the things I wanted to do and how to like market it to people. And you came up with this brilliant kind of like tagline for the business, which was making creativity affordable and accessible. And I was like, oh,
that was such a great moment because like in the back of my mind, since it was like my first session doing this, I was like, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud. Or maybe, she's going to think I'm nuts. And I was like, just say it. You know what? It could be something that she needs to hear. And Allie was like, oh my gosh, I needed to hear that.
Yeah, it was like the perfect thing. And I've like taken that tagline and I've run with it. And I've like made a whole kind of like,
nice.
It's like the cornerstone kind of the branding and marketing part of my new business. So it was like, it was just a fantastic first session. And then we continued to do kind of business coaching, brainstorming sessions over the last, I guess, couple of months. And
it's been like 2 months or something or more.
Yeah, it's been great though. I'm like, I just need to talk to Cynthia today to get my life together.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you reach out to me when you're having something big and exciting come up. Because then I can support you and really just help you through like the mindset stuff and get you pumped up about everything that's happening in your life because, it's exciting for me too. Cause I'm like, I'm walking a journey with you.
No, it's been, it's been great. It's one of those, I keep getting surprised by like how, I guess it's how it's done nowadays, but like making connections through social media. Like I feel like, especially recently, I've kind of like lucked out, I feel like, because I've been able to make these like really great connections through social media, and they've like resulted in some like really great like opportunities, but then also like friendships. And I'm like, yay, social media.
Yeah, me too. It's so
And then
good.
like it turns out that we're actually like located fairly close to each other. So I'm like,
Yay!
I might actually get to meet Cynthia in person one day.
Yes, we're gonna make it happen.
We'll definitely, it will happen. It will definitely happen. So that's how we met each other, and it honestly like lucked out. Like I feel like I lucked out because you've been an extremely helpful and like just kind of wonderful kind of like guiding light through this whole new kind of adventure that I've been on recently. So it's been really awesome getting to work with you. And so before we learn a little bit more about how you got started with blogging and the business coach aspect of what you do, tell us a little bit about yourself. So who you are and kind of what your background is, and then any fun facts that you would like to share.
Awesome. Well, so I'm Cynthia, honestly. I'm actually a New Yorker at heart and always will be, even though I live in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to North Carolina about 7 years ago, just like on a dime. I was like, I'm done with New York. I was just like really overwhelmed with all of the noise and all of the activity. I'm more of a like introverted, quiet person in my personal life, and I needed the space to really grow and develop in a place where I didn't know anyone. So it was just me and my now husband. We just decided, let's just move to North Carolina just like that. We took a trip and I was like, that's it, I'm moving there. And like 6 months later, bam.
That's very bold.
Yes. Well, that's almost like how I live my life these days. In the past couple of years, I've just decided I make a decision, I run with it, I see how it works out. And then, if I need to pivot, I do that. Yeah. But, I'm not going to let fear keep me from experiencing my life and all the things that I want.
That's a philosophy I am learning still, but I'm getting there. So I love that. I love that you were just like, you know what? We're moving to North Carolina. Let's go.
Yeah, that's it. And so like by day, I work as a legal assistant in a law firm. And then by night, I do business coaching. I do just coaching in general, women's empowerment, like helping women just get out of the shadows and into like the next best version of their lives that they want, and help them create that dream life that they've been dreaming of for so long, because we tend to get stuck in action and procrastination. And we say, we really want X, Y, and Z, but then we don't go after it. And I'm like, let's go. Like, I'm going to stand here with you and we're going to go.
I think one of the reasons why we like meshed so well, I think in that first coaching session that we had was because I've with anxiety and like imposter syndrome and stuff like that, like my confidence hasn't always been like where it is now. And so it was really, really nice to have someone who's kind of like also introverted. I like to say I'm like an extroverted introvert.
Yes. Yes.
I have moments where I'm extroverted, but so it was nice to kind of have someone who could relate to that.
Yeah.
Kind of, speak that same language and walk me through that, like being confident and being like, yeah, I can do this. Like, let's take steps and make shit happen and like move forwards. That was something I really appreciated because I was like, oh, so, like, what it's like to kind of have those like feelings and you've been through it. Because I feel like a lot of coaches that you meet are extroverted. Like some of them are like very, very extroverted. So it was nice to be able to be like, okay, we can relate. Yeah. You've overcome it. You can help me overcome it. Like, let's do this. So
exactly. And I'm a total introvert. Like, I need to recharge and I need my time to just like be alone and do something quiet, like coloring or something else that like rejuvenates my mind. Because after I like pour into someone and really just like help them through like, forming a business or, just generating ideas, it takes so much energy to generate ideas. And I'm an ideas person. So I'm like constantly generating and then having to like step back and then like replenish.
Well, to start off with, I want to touch on Dear Miss Anonymous, which is your blog. I'd like to hear a little bit more about what motivated you to start Dear Miss Anonymous, which, by the way, I love the name.
Yeah.
It's an amazing name. And I think a lot of women can identify not only with the name of the blog, because I do think a lot of us feel like we are anonymous in different ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, the content that you write is just like insanely relatable. I know I relate to a lot of it. So I'm, also a fan of of the blog.
So Dear Miss Anonymous actually came up kind of like a joke. Really, that's how it started. Back in like December of 2019, I was talking to a girlfriend who was going through a breakup. And, I was kind of just helping motivate her to like say what she needed to say, because like this was her chance. She was going to have a conversation with someone that she really cared about, but didn't feel like it could, it was right. It wasn't going to be a good relationship to continue. So she had some like really hard things that she needed to say. We were kind of just talking about like how women don't necessarily always say the things that they want because, we're afraid to speak our minds, or we're afraid that we're going to hurt someone's feelings. And sometimes it's like, you just have to say the things, because otherwise you're going to be the one that gets hurt, or you're going to be in a relationship where you're not happy because you think that, oh, I'm going to hurt him or her if I say the wrong thing, or if we decide that this isn't working. And so, I was kind of joking, like, Dear Miss Anonymous, you should tell, him this and that. And then, kind of went on like that for a couple minutes. And she's like, I feel like this is a blog. And I was like, no, stop. Like, this is not a blog. This is nothing. I was joking. Ha, let's stop now. She's like, no, I really feel like, like this is something that you're supposed to do. Like, this is your purpose. And I was like, oh, stop. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. But because like she's such a great friend of mine, like one of my best friends in the whole wide world, I just took her, thoughts personally. And I, sat down and I said, what if I just considered to see what would happen? Like, I keep telling myself that I don't have anything to say, right? I'm like, I don't even have anything to say. Why would I start a blog? I didn't put this on my radar, right? So after I hung up with her that night, I like researched how to get a domain name. And then within like less than a week, the domain name was set up. The WordPress site was set up. I was like, what is happening? Okay. So I went from like someone who said, I have nothing to say, to someone who wrote 47 or 50 blog posts, right? Wow. In 8 months or less. I didn't write anything in the month of July or August because my brain was like exhausted of writing.
That's amazing though.
Yeah. So clearly something was in there.
Yeah, that you did have things to say.
Right. And what I realized was I was writing this blog to myself. Like, it was a love letter to me, to my, like just to fill myself up and to just like let some thoughts out. I started out just with a series on redefining, because Miss Anonymous, she has a real identity problem. Yeah. She really struggles with like who she is, like internally. Right. And that's what I was doing. Like, I was struggling with who I was. I wasn't feeling confident. I had like a really hard year in 2019 as a foster parent. And I was just like really drained with all the things that were happening in my life. And I needed some direction, right? So my friend telling me like that sounded like a blog was the direction that I needed.
I do feel like a lot of us are kind of running around not really knowing what our purpose is necessarily. There were a lot of times where I'd stop and I'd be like, well, what is the point of what we're doing? Like, we're literally just like going day to day, going to our jobs. Maybe we love them, maybe we don't. And getting money to pay bills, making more bills, working more to pay more bills. And it's just like this weird cycle to me. And I'm just like, what is this? Is this what life is supposed to be? And I feel like all that feeds into like really checking in like with yourself and figuring out like who you are, and like like finding your identity, and then from that like going forward. Yeah, you found Dear Miss Anonymous and like freaking took off.
I know. And you know what? In my very first post that I wrote, like in the about me, I was like, I'm writing this to myself. Like, Dear Miss Anonymous, if the only life I change is mine, then that's fine. Like I have fulfilled my purpose of this. I'm going to do it for a year and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then like, so I start writing this and it starts like evolving into this giant thing, right? Like April comes, I'm writing this post and I'm like, I feel like there's something else inside of me, right? Coaching. All of a sudden coaching comes. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'm a coach now. Let's do this.
Gotta like listen to the universe and
Yes.
like, let it take you where it's gonna take you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was one of the questions I had, because I was wondering how you got into like, or what inspired you to do coaching. And
yeah, it kind of happened like that. Well, I always thought as I was growing up that I would be a teacher, right? That was like my biggest life's plan. I was like, I'm gonna be a teacher. But I thought little kids like 5, 6, 7, like, oh, I'm gonna take them through like the formative years, you know? And so I didn't become a teacher in that sense, like in the school. I ended up teaching young girls about dance because that was like one of my passions. It still is. Yeah. So I've mentored girls in like dance and empowerment, right? So confidence building and all that for like teens. Okay, so I was like, all right, so I do that. And then all of a sudden I'm writing these blogs and I'm like, I'm empowering myself.
Yeah.
And I'm coaching myself. I'm like, all right, I'm a coach now. Okay. And I'm going to coach women through like life's challenges. And it just kind of happened organically. It wasn't something that I planned. I was literally typing at my screen and I wrote down, I am a coach.
Love
just
it.
Like that.
I'm like, I don't know. Like I leave all of our sessions like inspired, but also now just talking to you, I'm like, oh my God, like to just kind of be willing to go out and do, I guess,
Yeah.
for lack of a better way to say it. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm very inspired and like want to give you like, I don't know, like a round of applause or something, because it's just to be, I guess, like bold enough or brave enough to literally just be like, you know what, I want to coach. It's what I want to do. I know I can do it. I'm going to be great at it. And then to just go and start, like that's amazing.
Because I mean, that's pretty much what I do though. You know, like I just say to myself, like, okay, today I'm a coach. And then like, what does that look like? What does that mean to me? You know, like I want to inspire and motivate and empower women. Then that's what I'm going to do, you know, and whoever comes my way or reads my content, they're going to feel something. They're going to be inspired. They're going to be motivated, or they're going to want to work with me, you know, and if that's something that people are interested in, I'm always available, you know, to chat, to see if we're a good fit. And mostly if you are thinking about doing something exciting and creative and fun, or have this big audacious dream that you want to achieve, like I'm your girl, right? Because I would just put you into action and we're going to take care of it.
Again, speaking from personal experience, that's exactly what happened. But like, so you talk about like not letting fear keep you from pursuing your dreams. Like that's something you talk about a lot, which obviously you're living by that. I do this for everything. I'm like, I want to take all these classes and do all this stuff, but then I don't act because it's a fear. It's fear, but it's also like, for me, it's a lot of like imposter syndrome. I'm like, I need to be well read on this subject.
Yeah.
So if someone asks me a question, I'll know the answers.
Well, we get stuck in that like procrastination cycle, you know, like we think that we have to learn all the things before we can do one step. Like, what if we just did a step and then we learned the next thing and then we took another step and then we continued on that way? Imagine how much further along you'd be than just sitting and researching all of the things and then deciding whether or not you were going to take action. If you decided, I'm going to take action and I'm going to learn, you're moving so much faster, you know, like you're collapsing time, as they say, you know, and just going after that thing that you really want. And when you see yourself like making steps and making progress, then you're like, ooh, all right, now I'm going to learn about this so that I can go even faster, even further, so that it doesn't take 4 years, you know, to get a business going. And maybe it takes you 4 months.
Yeah.
Imagine how fast, you know, you can move. And it's not that you're rushing. It's that you're actually putting in the actions, you're doing the work,
Mhm.
and you're making stuff happen for yourself.
Like, as I mentioned, you talk about fear a lot and like finding your identity and like redefining yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some other like tips or advice that you have for women that are trying to become more confident and to empower themselves and kind of find their identity or redefine who they are? Like what are some tips?
Well, what I've realized is that confidence is an inside job. Like you can't look outward for confidence. It
Yeah.
has to come from the work that you do on yourself. So personal development and reading and learning is such a big part of what I do every day.
Mm-hmm.
For so long, like I had stopped reading. I was reading like more fiction than nonfiction because
Mm-hmm.
like just to calm my brain down. But I was missing out on that personal development by doing that. So when I decided to start like reading, I've actually read 3 books in less than a month
Oh, nice.
because like I just want to take in all the information and then see what happens next, and it's not like a step-by-step guide to do X, Y, and Z. It's like here's someone's autobiography, like read about what they've been through and see how that can translate into your life. And I find that doing those, like I call them mind bending activities,
Mm-hmm.
something that's totally different than what you're used to doing, or something that's so out of the realm of like what you're comfortable with. So
Mm-hmm.
like if you're comfortable in the creative space, doing something completely opposite to just make your mind think in a different way. Like for me, I haven't been in the art space in a long time since I've stopped really teaching dance and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided a couple of weekends ago that I was going to watch this series called like Art Design or something like that on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it just like opened my eyes to all of the different parts of art that I was not thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then creativity kind of flows through me in that way. I'm like, oh, now I can like see this problem in a different way. That's how I was able to see your problem in a different way, because I wasn't thinking about it in like the concrete terms of like she wants to start a business and what is the tagline going to be. It's like
Yeah.
we're having a real conversation, and the creativity just like washed over me, and I was able to like pour that into you so that you could be like, wow, I needed to hear that. And it's
Yeah.
because like I've kind of given my mind that space to see things differently and then like explore things that interest you. I think that's like so important because so often we have all of these things that we're really interested in, but we tell ourselves we don't have time. That's like the main excuse that
Yep.
we give, or we don't have the money. And there's so much free stuff on the internet. I joined Skillshare for like $11 a month, and I've taken like 10 classes so far.
I love
What?
Skillshare so much. Yep. Highly recommend Skillshare.
Seriously, like you can't beat that. Like I've learned about Instagram and podcasting and, 100 other things that I would have told myself, well, I don't have the money to learn that, or I don't have the time. I'm driving in my car, I'm listening to something, through my speakers because it's interesting, and plus I want to learn. I want to be in that personal development space. And that's how, you can grow more confident when you really truly get to know yourself and explore the things that you're interested in. You really just give yourself that leeway to say like, hey, what is possible for me? Different, right? What's different and possible for me? Because you could sit in the possibility forever and it could be the same old 9 to 5 thing that you've been doing. And you could hate it and you could love it. More times I meet people that hate it, and me too.
Like, that's me. No.
Yeah, it's me too. But when I decided to go on that journey of redefining this year, it like turned my whole life around. And I'm not kidding. Like I decided, so I started with 10 new words, to redefine myself. I chose strong, motivator, driven, faith-filled, adventurous, what else? Honest, proactive. And then I started seeing how the words like started showing up in my life. Okay, it's been 9 months. We were in September. Finally, the words driven, bold, and adventurous have shown up.
Oh, nice.
It took 9 months to get there, right? And so, because I allowed it to come. I told myself that those were the things that I wanted to be. Like, I want to be driven. I've always been driven. But how is driven going to be a word for me in 2020, right? How is bold going to be a word for me in 2020? What about adventurous? We can't go anywhere, right? I didn't even know how those words were going to show up. And then this week they showed up, like just now, because I decided to join Mary Kay, part of their like leadership development program, where you start off as a sales consultant, totally outside of my realm of knowledge and experience and everything, right? So I'm like, all right, so I'm a Mary Kay consultant now. I'm a beauty consultant. I don't know anything about beauty. Let's see how this goes. You know what? I'm going to step into it and lean into it. And of course, the little bits of fear are going to show up. They showed up already in the past couple of days. My husband had to remind me, like, you just got started. Take a breath, But because I'm like, I am passionate about things and I want to see success, right? But if you don't start like defining success for yourself, or you don't start defining yourself as a person who can have the success that you want, you're not going to get there.
Yeah. I like the 10-word kind of exercise that you did. I find that really interesting. I kind of want to try it myself.
I think you should. I mean, it literally turned my whole 2020 around.
Yeah, I might have to give that one a try, because it's interesting, because one, sit down and really think about how you see yourself or what words you think define yourself. And then kind of seeing those moments that represent how you define those words to yourself, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I think that's a really cool kind of exercise to do. So I might have to give that one a go.
Yeah, please do. Let me know what you come up with. I can't wait to do it.
I'm gonna give that one a try. I like it. And it's also like doing positive affirmations, because it's like you're putting like good vibes out in the world. That's how I think of it. But like, I found when I was first thinking about like quitting my 9-to-5 and going full time and starting my own business, I started doing affirmations in the morning, like 3 or 4 like positive affirmations, where it was like, I'm happy. I picked things like statements that I wanted to represent my life, like going forward. And as soon as I started doing that, I started noticing those things more.
Exactly.
So I think even just by defining it, you're going to start kind of like being able to pick out those moments. So I like that.
And the moments are going to find you and you're going to find them, right? You're going to be presented with opportunities to say yes or no. Like, okay, is this an opportunity for me to be bold and brave? Then I'm going to say yes to it, because I want that experience in my life. I don't know where it's going to take me. So many people, they stop because they get the fear and then they're like, oh no, stop. We're not going there, right? Yeah. Instead of saying like, let's just see how it goes. Like, what could this possibly be? Right? You're not going to get eaten by a dragon or anything, right? You're going to try something new. And if it's not for you, that's fine. You don't have to stick with it forever. You try it for 6 months and see if it's something that could really benefit your life. Or maybe you just try it just for fun. And then you see like 6 months down the line, like, wow, I'm really enjoying this. Maybe this could be my career. Maybe this could be, the legacy that I create and leave for my family. Maybe this gives me the freedom to finally like go travel and do something else with my life, instead of having to punch a clock and saying like, oh, I have to ask for permission to take a week off, so I can go see my family, where, that might not be the life you want.
I'm already like, I know I've said this like several times before, but I'm like, man, when we're done recording, I'm going to get to work.
Yes.
I feel like this every time we talk. I just get like so motivated, and I'm like, yes, we are going to put ourselves out there, which, like at the end of the podcast, I like to say, get out there, try something new and have some fun. And I feel like like you fully embody that, and you're just about like, put yourself out there, it'll work or it won't. Like, it won't be the end of the world. It's just about trying new things and going, like you'll like it or you won't, and that's not going to be the end of the world. Like, you'll find out
experience. Right? It's part of the whole human experience. Just see what happens. I mean, I'm not saying to go invest like $1 million, if you don't have that, right? But if you're interested in something and you want to take a course on it, why not invest in yourself and like give yourself a couple of hours a day or a week or whatever time you have to learn and figure out, like, maybe this is something that could really be for me, instead of like saying either, well, I'm not going to try it because I don't have the time, or you're going to say, I don't have the money. And I get that, there's so much free information out there on the internet. I listen to Rachel Hollis, and she's like, I built a multi-million-dollar business on free information that I found on the internet. Like, there is no excuse now, especially in the stay-at-home time. There is no excuse.
2020 has really been kind of like a huge year for you. You've started coaching. I know you have I feel like 2020 has been a really great year, like, for you, but then also like the last couple of months have been insane. You started coaching, you're coming out with something new that you've just like collaborated with a company on, that I'm super excited about because it looks so cool. And then you have like a bunch of different programs that you're offering. Can you walk me through like each? I think you have like 3 different programs that you offer now, and kind of what your goals are with them and why you wanted to start your various kind of programs.
Sure. I was talking to a coach earlier last month, and he was like, I think your programs are all the journey that you've been on. And I'm like, yes, they are. And it's not like I did it on purpose. It kind of just happened like that by accident. I kind of got the idea and I went with it. That's how I live my life. And what I've learned, as part of coaching, is that you coach the people who need information or guidance right where you were at that time, right? So like, your journey is the biggest way to help other people. So like, you're helping people who are just like a couple of steps behind you. So that's where the programs have really come from, just like my own journey. You 2.0 is my newest program, and the one I'm most excited about right now, because it's the journey of Miss Anonymous. Like, this is Miss Anonymous right here. You 2.0, like, you no longer want to be anonymous. You want to step out of the shadows and into the spotlight, not into someone else's spotlight, the spotlight of your own life, like your being, you be you, like in your full embodiment of like the things that you love, what you want to be known for, who you want to be as your own person. It's like transforming into the next best version of your own life, of yourself. I mean, that's like the journey of Miss Anonymous right there. And I realized that so many women had like dreams and goals, but they let society and like parental expectations like stop them, including myself. My parents are from the West Indies, and they are like, you go to college, you get a job, you stay there until you're dead, pretty much. You're retired, like you stay there until you retire, and that's it. But that's not really the life that I wanted. That's not the life that I want. I want to be able to say like, hey, I'm coming to New York to visit you guys this weekend for, extended vacation, or like, hey, let's all take a trip to Ireland and, go see something different or something new. Just so that program really is like a visualization program. Like, you get to visualize what you want for your life, like where you want to be. And then we decide like how we're going to get there, right? I help you through the process of how you're going to become the next best version of yourself. The answers are already all inside of you. You just have to let them come out.
That one sounds great.
It feels so good. And when I was creating it a couple of weeks ago, it just like flowed through me, just like the creativity. It just like came all of a sudden. Like, okay, you 2.0, that's it. Like, let's write it all out and get it down. And then, so the next program is Dream It, Achieve It, which is the program that you were a part of for coaching, where you come to me with an idea and then I help you make it a reality. So, it's for newbie entrepreneurs or people who want to write a book, to start a podcast, to like start a business, whatever it is that they have, like that dream that they want to make real. So far this year, I've helped a woman like get ready to start a podcast. I've helped my brother start writing his book, which is ready for like publishing.
Oh, wow.
I don't work with men, but you got to make an exception for family. And just women in general who want like that next best thing, that thing that's really going to help them get to the lives that they want. Just helping them get out of that dreaming cycle where it's like you're stuck.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there. But like I said, taking action is the best thing. The next and last program is Let's Get Visible. It's for like newbie entrepreneurs or those super introverted people who like are afraid to put themselves out there on social media. Like they want to put their faces out there, but they're afraid. They want to do live video, but they're afraid. They want to do regular video, but they're afraid. And then they wonder why that they're not getting any clients or not getting any customers. Like because no one is trusting you because they're not seeing your face. They want to see your face and hear your voice and make sure that, you're not going to just take off with their money. Yeah. You're actually going to help them through like whatever problem that you're trying to solve, that they need solved. And it's super fun. It's a super fun program that I put together. It has like tasks and challenges and dares to really push you out of your comfort zone and get you to like, just do something different, like get yourself out there finally.
Just shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, make your money because that's what you want to do.
It's like a great time to do it now too. Like I know like people are a little iffy because of COVID-19, but honestly, I feel like now's the time to really push yourself in the online space because that's where everyone is.
Yeah, everybody. There are people who are not like really great at planning. They're great at the execution. They're great at, the ideas, but then the planning of like just sitting down and saying, what do I need to focus on?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you need someone to sit with you and say like, all right, what are the priorities? Let's write those down first. And what's the next level priority? Let's put those down and get some assigned to them. That way you don't feel like I have to do 700 things at once. Like, let's just take the 5 and get moving on those.
And then you don't do anything because you're like, I've got too much stuff. I'm just not going to do any of it.
Exactly. Right.
Oh, I love it.
If you're like me and you're just getting started with podcasting, it can be scary and overwhelming. That's why Anchor is such a great choice. It's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast, and best of all, it's free. It also has great creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Another great feature of Anchor is that they'll distribute your podcast for you. Your listeners will be able to access your podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many others. You can also make money from your podcast using Anchor, and that's with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place, and it's easy to use. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
Besides the 3 programs, you just started a Facebook group, right?
Yes. It's the Confident Women's Club.
Yes. So that you just got that going. And then you also have what I mentioned earlier is you're in the process of developing a journal.
Yes, it's actually ready. Oh my gosh, it's ready.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, I partnered up with a company on Instagram called You Are Company or You Are Stationery. I can't remember how she kind of describes herself as both of those. You Are Co and You Are Stationery. And so she focuses on like mental health journals, which, I feel like Dear Miss Anonymous is in the mental health space because we're going through stuff and we're, shifting our mindset all the time. And we're dealing with like real life mental issues or problems or just personal development stuff. So the journal is a great place to like write down your goals. It's a great place to write down your struggles, and just like fill yourself up with great affirmations, because on each page is an affirmation and like a little character, like a little girl character.
It looks so cute.
It's like really adorable.
Yeah, the little like sneak peek that you posted, I was like, oh, it looks like such a cool little journal.
It is, and it's available for pre-order today. And by the time this comes out, it'll probably be available for purchase through my site and through UR Company. And I feel like I wrote down like way back in January that I wanted to partner with a stationery company, right? And then June comes and I see this girl on Instagram who is, you know, she's promoting her journals, and I just reach out to her and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I've been wanting to meet someone who's in like the stationery, you know, business, because I feel like Dear Miss Anonymous, like, it's about letter writing. It's about like putting pen to paper and putting your thoughts down.
Oh, I love it.
This is the perfect marriage. Let's do it.
It's so exciting. Like,
so we set off and did this journal, and it's like super adorable. And I'm so excited to get it into the hands of my readers and just people in general who just love journaling, first of all. Oh. Second of all, they want that affirmation. Like every time you open to a page, you're going to be filled up with a quote or an affirmation that's going to like inspire and motivate you to be your next best self.
Oh, I love that so much. Like I said, it looks so cute. I'm going to have to get one. No, I love that. Yay. I'm like so freaking excited for your journal.
Yes, I'm about to put the link up on Facebook today.
Oh my God. It also like, it's like inspired me. I was like, oh my gosh, I can make a podcasting journal.
Yes.
So I was just like, oh, it's such a great, I don't know. I love journals.
Me too.
Okay. First off, I want to say again, thank you so much for being on the episode. I love talking with you.
Yeah, me too.
Whether we're chatting or in a coaching session or on the podcast, like I literally leave every conversation just feeling like I can conquer the world. So
yes, oh, I love that.
It's amazing. Like every conversation is just fantastic. But before we close it out, I like to ask my guests a couple of final questions.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is, what is one thing that you've always wanted to do? So like a bucket list item that you haven't done yet. And what do you think is holding you back? And it can be travel related. It can be about personal growth, learning a new skill, anything like that.
So the one big bucket list item that I've had on my list for about 5 years is to go whale watching. So I had an opportunity to go whale watching when my husband Chris and we went on our honeymoon to New England. Mm-hmm. And we actually went and stayed in Bar Harbor. There was a whale watching, tour like right across the street. But I was so sick the whole week that we were there. So I was not able to go because like my throat was all like jacked up and my ears I couldn't hear. And so like being on a boat would not have been a great idea for me.
Oh no.
So like, even though I really wanted to have that experience, like I just couldn't do it. And we want to see the puffins. So we had like this whole thing, like we were going to go whale watching, go see the puffins and all that. And then we said like, we're going to do it for our 5-year anniversary since we didn't get to go for we were there, but we didn't get to experience it for our wedding honeymoon. And then of course, COVID. So we couldn't do it this year because this is our 5-year anniversary. No. So soon we will be able to go see the whales and the puffins. Maybe next year.
We'll put it out into the universe. Hopefully you will be able to travel.
Yes.
You can get your whale watching in. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. So I'm also going to spring a rogue question on you.
Okay.
Earlier, you mentioned that you've been doing a lot of reading. And so I wanted to ask you, what is a book that you've read recently that you would recommend to other women that are just looking to learn and again, kind of get something a little bit more out of the books that they're reading?
Sure. The one book that I read this past couple of months that really just like turned me upside down is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. She writes in that kind of style that I like to write in, where it's like very story driven and very like personal, you know, like she takes you through her journey of like her divorce and her finding new love and really just like untaming herself from all of the expectations of, you know, her family and society and what love should look like and what life should look like. And that was the first book that I've read in a long time where I wanted to write and underline and highlight and underscore everything, like that whole book, because like she was talking to me. I'm like, girl, why are you talking to me?
Did you write this for me?
Yes. And it's like so motivational and inspirational. And so I'm reading this book, right? I'm sitting on my porch one day, I'm reading this book, and in one of the chapters, in a paragraph, is my whole program U 2.0, right? So I'm like, where is this girl like following me around?
That's amazing.
It's about like unleashing that you that's inside that like begs to come out, that she just wants something more. She wants something different. And so like anyone who really wants motivation and they want to be inspired and they love reading, because they'll fly through this book in a week and a half or less, go get that book today if you haven't read it yet, and just like dive in and just enjoy it.
Ooh, I love that. I'm going to check that one out. It's Untamed by
Glennon Doyle.
Okay, awesome. Yes, I'll include that in the episode description as well of the podcast. So if any of your listeners are interested, I'll include that for you. But
cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely going to check that one out.
Yeah,
I've heard of it before. I just have to say thank you again, Cynthia, because I am a massive fan of Dear Miss Anonymous and like everything you do. And I, again, have absolutely loved working with you over the last couple of months and like getting to know you, and looking forward to like everything you're doing in the future, and like watching you take off and do amazing things, because it's going to happen. It is happening. So
it's happening.
I'm excited to watch your journey, and it's been amazing to be like a small nugget of your journey.
Well, you've been a big nugget of my journey. You're one of my first coaching clients. You're actually, you helped me see creativity in a new way, and to, make it so that I can help other women, see creativity and their passions and whatever they want to do in a new way, because you push me to just bend my mind, like I don't have to see things like in the same light that I've been seeing them for 30 some years, like everyone has a different human experience, and like seeing the person for who they are and just going on the ride with them, right? Just jump on the board, get on the ride. Let's just see where it goes.
Yes, it's like the best part. And I wish the listeners could see me, because my face actually hurts, because I think I've been like smiling this entire recording, and I'm like, my cheeks hurt from smiling so much.
Me too, actually.
But it's just been like absolutely amazing. So Cynthia will be joining me next week for a live broadcast. So that'll either be on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, or all three. We'll figure it out. But if you have questions for her about, if you're looking for some advice or some tips about how you can, get empowered, or about any of her programs, or, her blog, or anything like that, you'll also have an opportunity to ask those questions to her live during the broadcast. So keep an eye out for those details. And then, Cynthia, if folks have, questions for you or want to find out more about your programs or your Facebook group, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me at Dear Miss Anonymous, DearMissAnonymous.com. That's my website, so you can read the blog there. You can see the programs there. It's a whole new redesigned website, so it's like really super fun and pink and cute. You'll be able to get the journal there by the time this comes out. And let's see what else. You'll be able to get me on Instagram. I have a small Instagram feed right on my page, so you'll be able to see and follow me straight from there.
And of course, listeners, I'll put all that information in the episode description, so you'll be able to find the link to her website down there. And I mean, with that, I just have to say thank you again, Cynthia.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. This has been like the most fun I've had this week.
Yay! Me too. Honestly, even though I forgot we were recording, what time we were recording, this has been amazing. So like I said, I enjoy every time I talk to you. So this has been a great kind of midweek kind of pick me up. So
yeah, I agree. It's so good.
Thank you enough, honestly. And for everyone listening, remember to get out there, try something new, and have some fun. Goodbye.
Yep. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Be sure to check out the Fun with Friends podcast on social media. We are on Instagram at Fun with Friends Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at FunFriendsPod1. You can also reach me by email at funfriendspodcast@gmail.com. And you can go to my website, cootscreations.com, for some fun little extras from the podcast. So definitely head over there and check it out. And as always, remember to get out there, try something new, and have some fun. Goodbye.